welcome to another edition of Mrs. Cford Vlogs. I'm Stephanie Crawford, and I'm very glad to have you with me today. Today, I want to talk about a game called Just One. So if you haven't seen it before, this is what it looks like. And it has a lot of possibilities in the classroom. So I'm going to dive into a few of those. If you've never played Just One or never even heard about it, let's give you a little bit of information about the game itself. So it comes with these holders, and they're able to be used with dry erase markers. So it also comes with little dry erase markers. Notice that the one side has a lip. It's because when you are it, your card sits on it, not facing you. So when you're playing, you take these cards and you count out 13 of them, and that'll be the length of your game. So you just draw the top off the pile. If you're it, you put it on your holder. And notice how they're all numbered? You choose a number. Every one of them has numbered 1 through 5. So let's say I chose 4. Every one that I'm playing with has to write a word on their holder here, on this side, that's going to make me guess banana. But only one word. There's no exception about that. Now, it can be an onomatopoeia. So if there was something, a sound that we give a word to, like for instance, if if bee was the word and I put buzz, that's okay. I can use an onomatopoeia. But I have to find a word to write down that's going to make the person guess. So if I'm it and I've chosen number 4, I don't know it's banana, everyone has to write their clue. When they're all ready and they've written their one word, they tell me to close my eyes, and then they show each other what they've written. Now here's the real kicker. If any of them have the same clue, they have to put their tents down, not facing it, so like face down on the surface, so that I don't get that to guess from. So now I might be left with one word or 0 words. That actually did happen to me. I played with my 2 sons and my parents, and it was the very first time they played, so I said, I'll be at first to show you how it works. And I chose the word, I chose the number. They all, when they said they were ready and they compared, they all had written the exact same word. So they all had to put their tents down, and I just had to guess a random word. I did not guess correctly. But that's kind of the fun of it. So you have to think, you have to extend that thinking a bit outside the box and what you would normally expect for it to be. So for instance, if I had picked number 4, the typical clue might be yellow or fruit, and those are great. It's not that you shouldn't write those words, but you do have to think, if I write that, what's the chance of someone else writing it? So a better clue might be, depending on who I'm playing with, you also have to know your players, because my parents might not get this, but my kids might get it. If I wrote minions, they might guess banana. It depends, because you have to have all of those clues and try to put them together. So it's a fast-paced game. If you guess it correctly, so once I have this in front of me, if they tell me that they're ready and I look at their clues and I guess banana, then we consider that a win. I keep the card, put it face up. If I don't get it, we flip the card over, we put it aside. That's our losing pile. And it's a collaborative game, so this is why I like it. You're not really playing against each other. You are playing as a team. So it's not that you are hoping that someone doesn't guess the word. You need them to guess the word. So you're really trying to extend your thinking into clues that are going to be helpful to them. Now, the game itself is fantastic, and I highly recommend it for a good family game. Again, quick and easy play, can be played with young and old. And if we came across a clue that I knew my younger son wouldn't know, he wouldn't be able to write a word for it or guess it, and they chose that number, then we just adapted. We said, let's choose a different number, and it was fine. But really, most of it has been, everyone can participate. And you'll be surprised sometimes, like even the clues that you think you're giving that are not mainstream, someone else is thinking the same way you are. All right, so let's talk about adapting it for your classroom now. There are so many ways to do this. Now, obviously, for a review strategy, this could be really fun because you've already covered the concepts. They know a lot of that information, so it would allow them to see how they can put that into play. So in something like social studies, you could have cards that you make where there are 5 slots still, but each slot has a different person, or it has a different war, or it has a variety of those things. Then when you choose it, let's say that it was Civil War was on here as number 4, and someone chose number 4. If they have Civil War, then everybody else has to come up with a one-word clue that's going to make the people they're playing with guess what their word is. So I might put down slavery. I might put down Union. I might put down Confederate. But again, what it's making me do is look back at my actual content and think, what is a clue that really is unequivocally tied with this, that isn't going to be so easy that everybody's going to put the same thing, but that's still going to make sense? That's a lot of thinking going on. You are analyzing all of that. So we're asking our students to do that. So a great adaptation, again, in that reviewing, and you can easily make those cards yourself. So again, social studies, you can put battles, you can put people, time periods that you're focusing on. But you can do the same in science too. Let's say you're talking about elements, and you have different qualities of elements that you've talked about, or you're talking about the periodic table. You know, you could have clues that go along with all of those things, and your students are going to have to find that one word that they can pull out to go with it. Now, obviously, you can do scientists as well, but it doesn't need to be limited to that. This really can apply to what you're studying in class. You know, if you're in an earth science, you could pick out rocks, you know, that type of thing. Even in math, which I know can be the trickier one to adapt some of these games to, I know that I've seen this year, especially in my role as an instructional coach, that there are math teachers who address vocabulary because they need their students to know what they're talking about. And they'll do review with vocabulary. This would also be a great thing for that. If you adapted your rule so that your clue wasn't a one-word clue, but maybe a one-equation clue or something like that, that could illustrate the vocab word, that maybe that's put into it. Like that's one of your rules. It could be a one word, or it could be one equation. You know, those things, those are the adaptations that are going to make it stick and make it work for you. Obviously, in ELA, you can use characters from your books or from your informational text, but you can use, excuse me, you can use this really in again, any subject. It's really just adapting that simple rule. You know, for instance, like with the math, if you're going to allow an equation, is there something you would need to allow in a different class that would help you out? You could use this in your FACS classes, your family and consumer sciences. If you were talking about like certain kitchen utensils. So if the word on here was a whisk, what one word would they write down that shows they know what a whisk is? So those are all adaptations that can be made to make it go up and extend into high school, but you can also put this down into your elementary levels as well. This would be great, again, for learning that vocabulary along with reviewing content ideas. All right, so if you get the urge to try this out, I hope you'll check back in with me and let me know how it goes. We'll share ideas. And I hope you learned something new today. Thank you for joining me, and I can't wait to see you next time on Mrs. Cford Vlogs.